Please support this channel by subscribing and leaving comments. Stay well, stay safe.
How tall these things might be. So let's take a look. That's an 8-foot tall Sasquatch right there. How would you like to bump into one of those things at night? That's 9 feet. So 10 1/4, my tape is probably going to break. I don't know. That's about 10 feet 2 inches. Okay? So it's a good possibility that Sasquatches might grow to this size. There's numerous reports of a 10-foot tall Sasquatch. That's about what you'd be looking at. We are talking about a very, very big animal. Let's see. The final thing, I'm real fond of this, what this guy said. Dr. Vladimir Markotic, in 1984, in his book, he's from Calgary, Alberta. Listen to this. He said, "It is not of cardinal importance if such beings exist or not, because even if they do not exist, they are part of folklore all around the world, and therefore provide legitimate reason for study and examination." I totally agree with John Green. If you've got a folklore, mythology, there's something to be investigated in terms of the human aspects. If you've got a real animal, there's something to be investigated. It's any way you look at it, you can't lose. Let me show the film, and I'll entertain questions. Oh, one final thing. I heard yesterday that in the Grays Harbor County, that last year, I may be wrong, but I'm going to point this out. They had like over 2,000 sightings in the year, or 2,000 encounters.
That wasn't right. I misheard, and it's been corrected today.
Okay, but anyway, okay, it's been corrected. But say, I like to juggle the numbers. 2,000 sightings, or I heard like 2,070. So you're getting, if that were, these people were really saying that this is really so. That's 5.7 sightings a day. Let's forget this meeting. Let's just go on down there and get one. Also, too, it's just like people say, "Man, you're a nasty son of a bitch. You really are blunt and to the point." And it's just like, I'm not going to be critical. I don't know if it's necessarily polite or whatever to point out these things, but I do. And if you don't like it, gosh, you don't pay my bills. Donald Hepworth said, and I'm just going to make a point. I don't really need to comment. When he first saw this thing, it was 90 feet away. When he last saw his car was moving, the subject was about 30 feet away from his car. And he said, I don't want to argue the point now, but he said he's moving in his vehicle at 20 kilometers per hour. There's 30 feet, 90 feet, in between that 60 feet. If you're moving at 20 kilometers per hour, you would have covered 300 meters. Not 60 feet. So you'd be way beyond this point. So I like to look at the numbers. Can this physically be? A witness is saying, this is what happened. I ran this fast. I mean, they do it in regular investigations in the real world of crime. I said, you can't, this is physically impossible. So why can't I do it here in this field? So I said, this is inconsistent. And I'm saying, I don't mean to bash people, but I'm saying, if I hear this guy in the cafe and he says, I distinctly remember April 8th, I said, well, this guy was sure about the date. The newspaper clipping said April 7th. And the sketch that he drew said April 6th. Maybe he did see a Sasquatch. All I'm pointing out to you is the numbers don't jive. You know, you go home and you said, I've got $1,000 in my bank account. But when they send you your statement, it says you got $500. Man, when you're talking money, man, you're on the phone. Hey, what's going on? So I look at the Sasquatch business very analytically. People tell me something, I said, okay, let's check it out. Now here, I'd like to ask if the people who...
Heard about might be an inconsistency in your methodology you might want to think about. What you say about numbers and attentiveness to detail is extremely important. I was a little troubled that you raised the issue of the fellow's 3 marriages as possibly casting aspersions on his reliability, when you don't in fact know if he was widowed 3 times, left 3 times. You don't know anything about it.
That's
when
true.
I'm sensitive because I've been married 3 times in the situations I'd be very happy to tell you about with pride. But when I called you on it before, you said if someone's been divorced 15 times. I realize you're speaking hyperbolically to raise the effect.
Right.
But I suggest maybe that's another kind of a situation in which one would want to pay equal attention to detail and fact.
Maybe I should have skipped that part.
Yes, we could also say you've never been married or you're not married now, so
Right.
we doubt your capabilities of human being.
Yeah,
but look,
So, in your investigation, leave personalities out of it.
hey,
Investigate the actual facts and just, go against those facts. Clothes don't fit, the length of the stride doesn't fit. But when you start talking about their personalities, you demean this whole process. Okay? You bring it down to the level of the inquiry.
I totally disagree with you. You know why? That's just like saying, I'm writing a book about Adolf Hitler and leave his personality out.
Well, I'm dealing with, if you're dealing with a book, if you're writing a book about Adolf Hitler and the way he performed various things.
Yeah, but...
Okay, we're dealing with a different subject here. We're dealing with something that we're after some investigative reporting on a subject, not a personality. If these personalities are full of, like yourself, color, do we say that you're a lunatic because you're full of color? No, okay.
Yeah, but let me put it this way. If somebody is married for the 4th time, okay? That means to me, I'm an old-time Swiss. Okay, I'm divorced too. But that means to me that and look, it has to do, personalities do enter in the case of looking at evidence, and not at evidence as such, but coloring it. How can you, if you don't know the person's personality, you want to know if this guy is reliable or unreliable. You want to know if he's a liar or not. I'm talking about the investigator. You want to know if the guy thinks Sasquatch come from UFO. So he twists his story around to fit his preconceived ideas. And in regard to the marriage, I would say to you, it's okay to make 1 mistake. It's okay to make 2 mistakes. But afterwards, it would indicate to me that the guy either thinks with his penis, or that he has a very poor sense of judgment, the people he picks, or that he is a crummy character, the woman, in the case of a man, can't stand it. Therefore, you should take it in consideration.
But
Okay, if we're dealing with this personal fact,
your assumption is that divorce equals mistake, and that's a very fallacious assumption.
Let's,
I'm
maybe
sure
let's,
but
why don't we just go on to the next questions.
Thank you, Dan. I'm sorry, but that's the way I look at it.
I had a question, and I also had a statement.
Go ahead.
Rover, doesn't science accept the fact that the actual observance of something influences the behavior of what you're observing?
On the subatomic particles, yes. Anything higher, not necessarily.
So Diane Fossey had no type of influence on the girl she was watching?
No, it doesn't necessarily follow one way or the other. If they saw her, she had an effect. If they didn't see her, then she did not. It's only subatomic that it is guaranteed to influence.
The other is why didn't you convert this over to the video?
I don't know.
Because it's going to get destroyed once you're back.
Yeah. I have another 16mm version of that film, and I just keep tucked away.
I think you probably will be better off taking individual frame and put them on 35. You get more value out of it.
But
More light on that black or so.
yeah,
You know?
I just wanted to, this was, I guess nobody knew that someone, Charlie McCoy, had taken a film of the tracks. Everyone was aware of the castings, and then this thing surfaced.
That's great to see.
So I just wanted to say, like, this is more collaboration for that case.
Was the original on 8mm?
The original was an 8mm movie.
I also wanted to mention about you can get bugged about the numbers. If somebody paid me lots of money and said, show me how much is 100 yards, show me how much is 60 feet, I probably couldn't do it.
Right.
So, but it wouldn't discredit.
Yeah,
it wouldn't discredit the fact that I thought that.
Yeah, I agree to that point.
So
It's just
if,
like,
you know, you're sort of picking about
Right.
the wrong area.
yeah, I see, I take value in that comment, yeah. But it's just like, when someone is throwing numbers at you, I'm saying, well, let's run a check on the numbers to see if they jive. Even if the numbers don't jive, like I said, that doesn't mean that he couldn't have seen a Sasquatch.
But if you are running a check on the numbers, do a little thinking about the possibility. For instance, the possibility that the car was coming to a stop at the time.
Yes, it's gradually slowing down. It's not going the same kilometers you're starting out.
Any more questions?
Many years, I'm not very learned in this, but many years ago I was here, about 35, and I had my family here, and I think a couple blocks they were showing some kind of a movie, a little hall over here, and it showed whatever it was walking through the woods. Was that fake? I've often thought about that.
Okay, the Patterson-Gimlin film?
Pardon?
Patterson-Gimlin.
I don't know the name of it.
Yeah,
I just
I
about
think,
35 years.
I think what you saw was the Patterson-Gimlin film. This October will be 27 years since that film was taken.
27, okay.
I just want to point out that at the present time, no individual person, no individual scientist or scientific body has been able to convincingly debunk that film. When you look at the film and you say it's a fake, and your comments are backed with nothing, just a flat-out statement, it has zero value. The film has, at the present time, has withstood the test of time. It's a highly credible piece of footage. Also, too, I might add that the biomechanics, how the subject in the movie is walking, if you not just look at the film, but if you study the footage, begin to realize it's not walking like modern man. The thing is lifting its feet, the toes off the soil, about 10 to 12 inches. Now, if you watch a man walk down the sidewalk, we don't walk that way, period. And I have yet to see anyone who is able to duplicate the motion that is seen in that film.
Is that the only...
Did you just do it?
Is that the only film that was taken?
Unfortunately, that's the only piece of photographic evidence that we have that has any claim to consideration.
And Gimlin to this day still holds it. He claims some muscular movement. And he thought
Yeah.
some muscular movement.
Gimlin had pointed out that he'd been around horses all his life, and he knows you can see the muscles moving in a horse. but is very familiar with that. And he said he's the naked eyewitness on this horse, and he's saying that you can see all the muscle masses. You can just see this thing was just incredibly muscular.
Why is it that you dismiss reports from the former USSR and China?
I think I can't put my hand on anything. I just suspect that there's a lot of faking going on from the Soviet Union and also from China. Is that let me just point out one thing. They had these alleged red hairs from the Chinese wild men, and I specifically wrote a letter to these people in China. I said I'd like to get one of these hairs to analyze or to have it sent to someone. They never complied. I wrote the same letter to Warren Cook, who had these hair samples also in Vermont before he died. He never sent them. And it's just like, I guess when in doubt, throw it out, or just, I just tend to, that kind of stuff, I just try to steer clear. And again, it's just like, you know, you people like yours, you know, this guy's an asshole. And I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Because I just, most of you people are just going to, you know, oh, you're here and you're gone tomorrow. And the people who are going to continue to do the investigation and research, you know, they're going to get something out of it.
Danny, the book that you're mentioning that you hope to publish in 2000, did you say by 2000 or in 2000?
No, the book will be out in 2000. Unless I deal with my brother again, then it will be 2002.
And this is not a.
It's not a bibliography. It's not the special edition. It's going to be a book. Something like what Green produced in '78, what Sanderson produced in 1961. A real book, the whole 9 yards, photos, and works. Question?
No.
Yeah, go ahead, anyone.
In 1978, the UBC conference was going on, and I was talking with Barbara Watson. And at that time, they were really involved with legal things, legal investigations. And they made a really interesting suggestion as to doing a conference. When I was at that conference, the name of the conference was Man-Like Monsters on Trial. So I was told her no hurry. Next year, we have a trial and have people try to prove or disprove that what you just did.
I can't say yes or no at this point, but it's like a valid approach.
I'm enough hip weight to say when the blood's going to flow.
DNA mapping, it can be done with blood and some other body fluids. Why can't it be done with the hair sample?
I'm not the guy to answer that question.
Dr. Francis Dahinden?
Yeah, it can be. There's a number of people who can do it. Of course, you can't trust me because I've been married 4 times.
But just to elaborate on that point, people often ask why isn't DNA mapping done more frequently? Am I wrong, Grover, in thinking that there are really rather few labs equipped at this time to do it, and they've got quite a waiting list of projects, and it's a pretty expensive thing?
Let me deal with that one, because I was talking to one of the top men who does it just the other day, and he says they're finding that they can't do enough with just hair, they've got to have the bulb on it. He has some hair samples that he's installing with, and the answer is, well, technology isn't good enough yet. He's got the Chinese hairs that Danny referred to, for instance. He doesn't want to grind them up, because that would destroy them. And he doesn't feel like getting enough out of them yet. But as the technology gets better, maybe those hairs will do, or if he has hair that still has the bulb on it, then that'll work.
There are a fair number of labs that can do it, but most of these people are visiting. And if you send them something saying that they have Sasquatch hair, the vast majority of them will just throw away, which will look at it. few that I know of who are willing to look at it, then you don't want to press testimony with things that turn out to be dog and human. Because after a few of those, then we get that away with it.
And just, someone brought this up, but anyone who's familiar with computer enhancement of film, which I'm not, if Rene might want to speak to this, if the Patterson film could be digitized, thank you, and subjected to computer enhancement, does anyone know enough about it to think that it might take us into a whole new level of appreciation of that film?
You can make anything out of, that's what I do for a living at Boeing. And you can make anything out of digital enhancement. It just depends on, it's an art. The person that's running the equipment can make it look the way he wants.
If you had the film, or a frame or two, do you think that you could give us something that we haven't had before?
Yeah, what do you want?
That was reliable?
You can make anything.
I see.
What do you mean by making that?
You can think
You
it.
can make anything you want digitally.
Yeah. So
I
you're
can
saying
make
that
it look however I felt that it looked like.
Like adding a zipper to the back of the suit, or
I could put someone's other face inside the air next to his neck, or her neck. Well,
right,
it would look real.
okay, well, enhancement might not be the word then, but analysis.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
About 6 months ago to a year, either in Scientific American or Omni magazine, they had an article on the subject. And I read the article, and I was absolutely astonished at what they can do. They can digitize any type of photograph and make it, put it in any kind of setting they want. They can change, let's say, the person's face, a profile. They can change the color of the hair, the eyes, the shape of the mouth, the nose. You can't tell the difference in that technology they have. So if someone was to fake a film on the Patterson, no one could tell. You can't tell. And all you would have to do is get a hold of the Patterson film and digitize it. Get enough of the information on that creature, and they could make a new movie.
That's why today, in today's technology, a lot of stuff that could come through the door could be very highly manipulated because of our technology. They're right. They can put your face on the Patterson film and re-show it, and if we zoomed in on it, it'd be you walking away.
To give it further that point one more time, there's a movie out right now called The Crow, where Brandon Lee, the star actor, was accidentally killed in that movie. They used this technique to finish off the last 20 minutes of the show, even using him in it. Really? You can go and witness that by watching the show. Movie.
Making speeches, so.
Everything. Action, film, everything.
Any more review? Okay. And our next speaker again is Donald Hepworth, the former chief. Donald Hepworth is a former chief inspector for the Humane Society of Ontario, Canada.
I want you to treat my statements with great caution because I've been very cautious. So, with that in mind, I'm not a very good judge of this course, especially when I'm sitting in a moving car. I have two animals, and I've never seen before in my life, probably never will again. I'm watching that, controlling the car now, getting closer, and I'm watching this and I've never seen that do before. There's something just mind-boggling. Now, when I finished, about 30 miles away, 30 feet away, I furthered the brakes and kept furthering them. I was certain that was hit me. And I watched them jump up and disappear. And I said to my wife, "Do you see that?" And she said, what? She wakes up. And I don't know that. I'm also pinching myself. What have I seen? And I suppose the answer is, I've seen them, I go away and I make a sketch of them, and get a date on the camera, and I've got the sketch, and I know what I've seen, and I had people ask me when I was there to go again, look at places in the locality. And the answer is yes, I will go. And I'll look at them again, and again, I'll do the best I can, inadequate though it may be, and inadequate though I am, to recount the evidence as best I can. I can only do and tell you what I've seen and try to, and be as honest as I can about it, and poke holes in it. So bad, not poke holes in it, and my evidence will have to stand up or fall over what can I say? But I still stick to it that these animals have muddy brown eyes. And I'm most indebted to the speaker who talked about human red, because I got a questionnaire, and the identity of the questionnaire has been revealed, and he has been discredited as a person unworthy of reliable testimony. But his question to me was, had I seen any red eyes? Had I seen any red eye movement? And had I seen any unidentified flying objects? And my answer to all three questions was no, I hadn't. And I have seen a flying saucer, but that was in England a long time ago, and it came out it was the wreckage of a Russian spaceship falling to Earth. But it's very strange, it was falling to Earth following exactly the course of the River Thames. So it was falling to Earth. I don't know what really the answer to that is. As I say, I have been married to the Flash. And this Flash personality, I know exactly what it was. It wasn't a car made a mistake, but she made a mistake. It was a mistake by emotion, real. So, there's too much I can add to it. At all, living as I do in Eastern Ontario, I'm not likely to see anything like that again, and I'm too busy anyway to go wandering around the coast looking for it. I'm too much to add to my previous testimony. Yes.
I didn't hear your previous testimony. Where was it this happened?
This happened on, I think it's Highway 95. I could be wrong. It is Highway 95. Right? And if I ever see one, I should do my damnedest to try and kill it as close to Pullman as I possibly can. So I don't have to transport the heavy carcass. One thing I will do, if I do find one, and I do kill one, I will take a sample of blood. In fact, I'll take 3 or 4 samples of blood, and then I'll cut the animal's throat, and let all that blood run out, and I'll save the weight moving it. Because it's probably something like 10 or 12 gallons of blood, which will weigh something like 100 odd pounds in weight, all that blood. You can't transport all that weight for nothing. And I watched a lot of animals slaughtered. I do know one of the first things they do is get rid of all the blood out of them to save weight and preserve the meat because blood goes off very quickly. And we had sort of stopped at a place called New Meadows. And when we got there, the accommodation in New Meadows was not the thing of my wife and myself. So we elected to carry on to a village called Visa. And we drove along this 2-lane highway, not being a lot of traffic. And these were 2 figures, black figures, standing beside the road. And my first thought was, they were the children of the Negro worker or foreman or somebody of that nature on the side of the road. And they started walking across the road. And they were covered in black hair. And I was getting closer to them. And the male, one was a female, she was in front. And the bigger one, male, young, turned and then had to turn his trunk to look at me. And I noticed at that point in time, the whites of his eyes were not white, they were muddy brown. More like some Negroes in the Equatorial Atlantic. And at that point they reached the other side of the road, the female bent her knees a little bit, jumped, and went straight up this bank. The male put his foot in the middle of the bank,
time, I think he could have left it, and stepped up. Just one stride, he was on. My wife, I fell asleep. And I said, did you see that? He said, no. And I drove on in a state of shock. And well, Lisa, when what to my chagrin, and I have to admit this, I had a loaded camera on the floor of the car behind me. And I was too shy to take a photograph, or even try to take a photograph. Stop the car and get the camera out and jump out of the car and pass that thing, smile to it, and take a photograph. I couldn't do it. And the only thing I could do was sit down, piece of paper, and sketch. I went up to the hotel. I was solid surface. I'm putting myself. Sketch. That's what I sketch. And I can't say any more to that. Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I'm just curious, I was curious about this yesterday. I got to ask that your initial impression was that they were children.
Yes. I think they're juvenile, because I don't think, they weren't very big. I don't think the male animal was any taller than the female was certainly short. Judging by where they came up with the video. And I just feel that they were young stock. They certainly had big feet, but they weren't as big as this one. No way. Probably about 2 thirds the size. And that's all I can tell. People said, did you smell anything while I had the window on? And I didn't smell anything. I didn't notice any sound again, window up. If they did communicate with one another, they did it by some sort of means, but not over some animals do that. Horses seem to do that. Maybe they read minds. Horses certainly pick up the animals. You can scale them on us. You have to see yourself. Maybe we do that. Run into the situation.
I want to thank you all for coming. The Sasquatch Daze and Sasquatch Forum has become a success because of all of you. And I'm in gratitude to you all for sharing your experiences and for taking part in this, for being willing to accept any abuse that might happen as a result of it. I think it's a total success. Thank you very much for coming. I have a tape here for anybody who would like to see it of what Harrison Hot Springs looks like when the sun shines. Thanks to Rene Dahinden, including 6 Sasquatches in the parade. I don't know if anybody else would like to say anything more before we put this on. Feel free. Anybody else wants to say anything else? This is being the last few minutes.
3 cheers to you, Steve, for getting us together. Thank you so much.
Yes. I think it's an integral part of something called Sasquatch Daze. Thank you again. Feel free to stay for this, I'm sure, very worthwhile video. Thanks to Rene Dahinden.
One.
Do that again.
Yeah, during that,
If you're enjoying all this rare and unique content, please show your support by subscribing and leaving comments. Stay safe, stay well.